They also did studies on vegetables emitting certain frequencies or screaming, or being in distress rather, when they're ripped out of the ground or cut. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing probably the most unexpected plot twist of 2018/2019. And that is why everyone is jumping the vegan ship. Especially after the huge rise of veganism in the last 10 years, we've had so many restaurants have vegan options and completely vegan restaurants, vegan options in grocery stores, and of course the birth of the online vegan community. And within this community, we're seeing people like Kalel, Bonnie Rebecca, Ravana, and Raw Alignment. They're making videos saying, I'm no longer vegan. And maybe you've noticed it within your friends too. I know I have. I actually am not vegan anymore. I was vegan for a short period of time, and some of my friends that were vegan are eating meat again. Obviously, going vegan for animal rights purposes, if you are not educated on how to keep your protein and your nutrients levels up, you're gonna be eating a basis of rice and pasta and a ton of bananas, and that's not sustainable. So any long period of time eating that sort of diet, you're gonna be malnourished. But these vegan YouTubers were pretty much the professional vegans. So what happened? Well, first off, monoculture. If you don't know what monoculture is, it's pretty much the way that we farm vegetables in America and fruits. It's where a farmer will plant one crop and one crop only. So 100 acres of straight corn, nothing else. And this is great for them, super easy to maintain, but it's horrible for the planet and for our bodies because most of the time these crops are genetically modified. The farms are fossil fueled, they use potent pesticides, and they're usually pumped with preservatives to make it to all of the different destinations that they are going to. Monoculture also causes soil degradation. Because the corn is taking up the nutrients and there isn't anything putting the nutrients back, the soil has no fertility. There's no vegetation to give the soil that nutrients that it needs. And so not only that corn, but all the other things in that area and planted in the future have no nutrients. And they're pretty much just depleting different farmlands of nutrients and essentially the earth and all of our food source. So because there's no vegetation, we're not only experiencing low nutrients in foods, but we're also having a problem with bees dying. If they don't have any plants to pollinate, they are dying out in colonies, and they're really finding it hard to relocate because there's so many farms that use monoculture. So if you're vegan and you are not eating honey because you don't want to support the beekeepers, you might be doing more harm than good actually, because the only people who are planting these plants that the bees like to pollinate are the beekeepers who actually care about their bees. Not only are these fruits and vegetables super low in nutrients, but they're also really low in vibrations. So the farmers that do this, they're pretty much business owners. They're not really passionate about farming most of the time. They're just money hungry, and they just want to maximize their paycheck and lower the amount of work that goes into it. They're treating their crop the same way that we treated factory farmed animals, essentially, with no love, no respect, just producing for consumption, and that's it. And I think that a lot of people who went vegan originally are sensitive to energy, and so any empaths that were once burdened by this cortisol-filled meat can now find solace in pasture-raised meats from family-owned farms, and now they're reacting negatively to factory farmed vegetables and fruits instead. When I went vegan for a little bit, I was having a conversation with my friends, and they asked me, how do you know vegetables can't feel? And at first I got kind of mad because I was pretty serious about veganism, and I thought he was joking, but he was dead serious. And he told me that they did studies on vegetables when they were being eaten by caterpillars, and they found that they actually were able to produce a chemical reaction to try to combat that process, which I thought was pretty cool. They also did studies on vegetables emitting certain frequencies or screaming, or being in distress rather, when they're ripped out of the ground or cut. And obviously this is pretty far-fetched, but it just made me think, because you have the vegans pretty much claiming that vegetables don't feel. I mean, subconsciously they're not saying that, but that's pretty much what you're saying, right? Animals can feel and vegetables can't. And I grew up, my dad was a fisherman, and he would always tell me that fish don't have neocortex, so they aren't able to feel pain. They only feel pressure, so it's okay to fish for them and eat them. And then you have the extremists who say that, well, cows and pigs, they don't feel like we do. They're not the same as us. And where does it end, you know? Who's right? If you ask me, no one is right and everyone is right. So everything that we're talking about is a living being. Whether it can talk or it's conscious or not, they're all living beings. So who are we to say that one is okay to eat and one is not? What's okay to eat is not the problem here, okay? The problem is gluttony. Especially in America, this is our mindset. We don't have enough, the earth doesn't have enough for us, and we don't have enough in our lives and we're not enough. So we try to fill that void with material items and food. And so we end up at places like McDonald's and these high calorie foods that are usually the processed items that are coming from these farms that are doing wrong to animals and plants and the earth. That unworthiness conversation is probably why a lot of animal activists who go vegan start to become malnourished, because they don't really care about themselves. They care only about animals. They feel guilty and they just put animals before them even, and before other humans. Have you ever seen a vegan or somebody who's really passionate about something treat somebody who doesn't believe in that like crap? It happens all the time. They just don't care about human beings. We're starting to hate human beings so much because we hate ourselves, and that's the problem. It's not that animals are... Think about it. Back in the day, we used to get a kill when we would go hunting, and that was like the most awesome thing ever. We started eating meat when we had the Ice Age, and we didn't have anything else to eat. That was like our saving grace, and Mama Earth gave that to us as our gift. And obviously we have access to farming now, and we don't need that anymore, but that doesn't mean that we're not still at the top of the food chain here. Why is it okay for a lion to eat an antelope, but we have to eat certain things? The solution here is to stop telling yourself that you're unworthy and that you don't have enough and this planet doesn't have enough. You deserve to feel nourished in whatever way that looks like for you. So if you want to be a bodybuilder and you want to eat a ton of protein and a ton of carbs, that's great. Just eat mindfully and pay attention to where you're getting your food and what the source is. And at the same time, if you're an animal activist and you really want to take a stand and be a stand for animal rights, then by all means be a vegan. That's awesome, but take care of yourself the same way that you're taking care of animals. Also, I said this in the last video, I'm probably gonna say it like every single time, but vote with your dollar. It's seriously the best way that you can stand up for what you believe in. There is a such thing as sustainable agriculture. It's becoming much more prevalent, especially in grocery stores, so figure out which companies you support. If you want to learn more about food labels and what they all mean, in my last video about grocery shopping, I linked that in the description box. Check out your local farmers markets, and if you don't have the financial resources to buy organic or pasture-raised every single time, that's fine. Don't freak out, don't beat yourself up, just do it whenever you can, and at the same time, don't beat up other people for the way that they live their lives and their choices. If you're really passionate about something and you want to speak your truth, by all means do that, but do it with love. I'm really sorry for this super corny saying, don't hate, educate. I've seen a lot of people like totally throwing shade at the online vegan community, and it's just dumb. Like, these people are having health issues, and just let them figure it out. Everybody is on their own journey, and most of them didn't eat meat for like years. Like, they made a huge impact on a lot of people too, and that's what we want to focus on, is the impact and changing the way that we do things and just being minimal and nourishing our bodies and loving the planet. Alright guys, that is all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you've been loving my content, hit subscribe. I'm going to be uploading weekly videos just like this one. Thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. If you see me looking over here, I'm so not reading notes. I'm still getting used to the camera, so thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for supporting me. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.